Our movie begins with the return of Yi Lanqi, our heroine, along with her genius children. She stands them in front of her and says the purpose of coming back here is to find your fourth brother. The children add, and to find Dad. But we see Lanqi getting upset, telling them, "You don't have a father, he's dead." The focus remains on the fourth brother. We learn that Lanqi is the head of the Xingxi company, and her assistant, Yang Lin, informs her about the latest news. Her father, Shanghai Yi, has become the head of the Yi group and is arranging the marriage of his daughter, Yaner Yi, to someone from the Lu family. Yang also updates her that Yanshu Lu, the youngest heir of the Lu family, had an accident, leaving him unable to walk or see. Despite this, Mr. Lu has rejected all marriage proposals, but he agreed to marry someone from the Yi family. We then understand that Lanqi's fourth son is with the Lu family, and this is her opportunity to reach him. However, it won't be easy. Lanqi goes to her house, and we are taken to a flashback. Lanqi remembers when she used to live in the house and was imprisoned for being pregnant out of wedlock. Her half-sister and stepmother set her room on fire to kill her and take her mother's shares in the company after her mother passed away. Returning to the present scene, we see Lanqi's intent for revenge. Lanqi enters the house while they are discussing the marriage to the Lu family. Her sister opposes the idea of marrying him, and Lanqi tells them, "Don't marry him. I'll marry him." At first, they don't recognize her, not even her father. When they realize she's Lanqi, they are shocked that she didn't die in the fire. They pretend to be happy she's alive, and her stepmother says, "Every time I remember the fire, I get so upset and lose my appetite. Poor thing." Her stepmother adds, "What's in the past is in the past. Let's start fresh. If you want to marry into the Lu family and Yaner doesn't want to, then go ahead and marry him yourself." Lanqi agrees to the marriage, but on the condition that she regains her mother's full name. When they oppose her, she says, "Forget about the shares then," but adds that she wants her mother's crystal necklace. It's not very valuable, but reminds her of her mother. Her stepmother claims that all her mother's belongings were burned in the fire, but her father, Shanghai, makes it a condition. She must marry first, and then he will look for the necklace and give it to her. When she arrives at the Lu family mansion, we learn that she has married Yanshu, and that he is the same person she had illegitimately married 6 years ago, with whom she had 4 children. She's here to take the 4th child back from him. At first, Yanshu rejects her and asks her to leave. But when she approaches him, he hears her voice and catches her scent, which feels familiar to him. He senses that she is the same woman he had an unofficial marriage with 6 years ago, but he is puzzled why she would marry him now after she ran away and left him with a child. He asks his grandmother how much money she gave Lanqi to convince her to marry him. He even offers Lanqi double the money if she leaves. She tells him money doesn't matter to her. She only wants him to be okay, and that he might be able to walk and see again. He dismisses her, saying the doctors have told him there's no hope. We then learn that one of her children is a genius doctor who will treat Yangshu and help him recover in a short time. We switch to the 3 children around the Lu family mansion. Their father's house, though they don't know it yet. We discover that they are there to retrieve their 4th brother, along with their mother, and leave. While walking, they find some kids bullying their 4th brother because he is mute. They push him to the ground and hit him, but the 3 siblings step in and save him. At this point, Lanqi arrives and sees the 4th brother. She tries to approach him and tell him that she's his mother and that the other kids are his siblings, but Yayang refuses to believe her because of what he's heard about her and how she ran away and left him. We then go into a flashback and learn the truth. When she gave birth to the quadruplets, Yayang had to stay in the incubator for a month. Lanqi had no choice but to take the other 3 children and escape from her family. She feared that if they found out she didn't die in the fire, they would try to kill her and her children again. Returning to the present, Lanqi continues to try and explain the truth to him. At first, he refuses to forgive her, but eventually he does. When they return home, they find Z, the genius doctor, trying to treat Yanshu, his father, for blindness. Yanshu eventually regains his sight and sees 2 identical boys standing side by side. Lanqi tries to explain that this is just an effect of the treatment, and that it's only one boy. She asks Z to disappear. Later, the maid informs Lanchi that the second lady of the house is accusing her of hitting her children. Lanchi goes downstairs, and we learn that there's a new enemy in the Liu family, Yanshu's aunt and her children, who are the same kids that were bullying Yayang. They accuse Lanchi of hitting them, and that her children hit them too. But Lanchi shows them a video of the kids bullying Yayang. The second lady then accuses her of not being a real Yi family member, claiming she has seen their daughter, Yaner, and knows what she looks like. She accuses Lanchi of being an imposter, but Lanchi defends herself, saying she survived the fire and has been alive all this time. The second lady tries to discredit her further and orders her to be thrown out of the house. Yang defends her, but then Yanshu Lu appears in his wheelchair, shocking everyone. We are surprised to see Yanshu Lu arrive in his wheelchair, threatening anyone who tries to touch her. He removes the black bandage from his eyes, revealing that he has regained his sight. His grandmother is overjoyed for him and happy for Lanchi. The second lady tries to convince the grandmother that this is just a coincidence, but the grandmother scolds her, especially since her children bullied Yayang. At this point, Yanshu sits quietly, observing Yayang and noticing how much he resembles Lanchi. We learn that Yayang lost his ability to speak due to psychological trauma. He grew up without a mother and believed that she had abandoned him and didn't want him. Lanchi defends his mother, and Yanshu grows suspicious. He asks her how she knows so much about him and questions whether she is Yayang's mother. Lanchi responds that she simply feels connected to the child and promises to stand by him in the coming period. She makes a mistake by telling Yayang, "Mama will take you to eat," which increases Yanshu's suspicions. She quickly explains that since she's now his stepmother, it's normal for him to call her Mama. We then see Yanshu's assistant reporting to him that the company is doing well, but everyone is afraid it might fall into the hands of the second Mr., Yanshu's uncle. Yanshu asks him to gather all the information about Lanchi before doing anything else. Switching to the three children, we see them planning to make their mother fall in love with their father so they can all live together. They decide that if they heal their father and he walks again, they can convince their mother to love him. However, the youngest, genius Dr. Z, tells them that the treatment will take at least a week using acupuncture. They decide to create a plan to swap Yayang with Z. They go to Yayang and convince him of the idea, and he agrees so they can all stay together. Meanwhile, we learn that Lanchi's assistant at the Xingxi company has bought many shares in the Yi company. Of course, the Yi family doesn't know that Lanchi owns Xingxi. As soon as Lanchi sees Yayang, she realizes it's actually Z and not Yayang. She understands their plan and agrees to go along with it. Yanshu's assistant later brings him all the information about Lanchi, and Yanshu's suspicions grow. He eventually realizes that the day of her mother's death coincides with the day he first met her. His suspicions turn to certainty that Lanchi is Yayang's mother. He tells his assistant that he will obtain a strand of her hair to conduct a DNA test between her and Yayang.